Hi, everybody. I'm Brendan Murphy,
Matthew Brown.
and this is A Few Good Movies. Welcome back to the show. A little bit of a hiatus, but super excited to be back and to be talking about a very special movie today. It, 2017's It, directed by Andy Muschetti, written by Cary Joji Fukunaga. So, Matt, you were the one that picked this movie.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we're in spooky season right now. There's a plethora of horror movies you can pick from, anything like that. Why did you choose this movie?
I gotta be honest, just because when I remember watching the original one,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I didn't do too much research about this one coming out. I just knew they were remaking it, and I didn't realize that they were going to shoot it from the perspective of the kids, which that's not the first one. It's just flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they shot it like that, it just became, I don't know. I'm a sucker for kid movies, and so when you get kid and horror, I just get real excited. And then plus there's some great actors, some of those kid actors, especially Finn. This is Finn right after the first season of Stranger Things. So I mean, he's really starting to hit his stride here. So that also brought me in, and it's a fun movie. So I thought it would be a good way to dive into some scary movies, but it's a scary movie that it's got comedy to it for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
It honestly almost feels more like a comedy than a scary movie watching it through again. It's like a comedy with bits of horror as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that's the main reason this movie works is the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think the horror stuff is really good. I think it works. I think it's well directed. I think it looks really good. I think the performance by Bill Skarsgård is really great. Obviously adds to how scary Pennywise is. But I think what makes this movie work and why I kept going back so many times, because when this movie came out was when I was in my junior year of college.
Okay.
And I was moving to a new place and everything like that. I transferred schools and I started working at the movie theater there. And people who work at movie theaters know you get free tickets. So I saw it 5 times in the theaters. I kept going back because I agree. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I really got attached to this group of kids. And I think, and we'll probably talk a little more in depth about this later, but it's why It Chapter 2 doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. I'm not a fan of it.
Huge disappointment.
Big time.
At least for me.
Big time.
It's whatever. It's not I'm going to get super angry about it, but it's just what happened? How do we go down this road? How did we get here?
Yeah, that's another day.
That's another day. But, no, for my frame of reference, I still have not seen the old Tim Curry It.
Okay.
I have it on Blu-ray. I still want to watch it. It's just, especially, I waited till after It Chapter 2 to watch it. And after how disappointed I was with It Chapter 2, I was like, maybe I don't need to watch this right now. Maybe I'll give myself a little time.
Yeah, hopefully you're not disappointed from the original too, because I remember I watched the original after seeing this one.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, obviously it was shot in a much different time period. They didn't have as much to work with, so, I have to keep that in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But the original one's a lot cornier in terms of how they try to make things scary. And again, like I said, I understand that I have to put myself. When was that? Did they shoot that in the 80s?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I put that in perspective, but yeah, it doesn't do it for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also just you look at the difference between just how the two Pennywises look. Mm-hmm. Obviously you can tell it's going for a much lighter tone. And it's a made-for-TV movie, too. I don't think you can really go as dark as this movie goes with something made for TV.
For sure.
But, I mean, I still need to see that Tim Curry performance because I love Tim Curry so much.
Okay.
I'm sure at least that part of the movie is, pretty great.
Him is being Pennywise?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you don't see Pennywise that much in the original one. My memory is not super fresh on it, but I just feel like you don't. That was one of the things I also really liked about this one. I felt like Pennywise was so much more involved because instead of just going to the flashbacks of what happened as kids, it was all of it. You get to live all of that out, and that's what made it super fun to take that journey.
No, and I agree, and I feel like we're going to be doing this a little too much, dogging on It Chapter 2, but it's where It Chapter 2 makes its mistakes, where it's let's do flashbacks. It's didn't we do a whole first movie so we didn't have to do this?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give me a bunch of deleted scenes from the first movie and put it in this new one. I got it. I understand.
if you're gonna already take the first one and do it completely different than the original, then make the second one completely original too. Because it's like they made the first one its own thing, and then the second one is like a remake of the original. It's like you don't have to do that. You've kind of already started your own world here. You don't have to go match the original one.
Well, I think here's where Cary Fukunaga comes into play. Now, I don't know how much you know about the backstory of the production of this movie and everything like that, but Cary Fukunaga was originally the director of this movie.
Okay, like he's the writer, right?
Yes, he's the writer. He's the director. It's basically his baby.
Oh, okay.
And I forget exactly why he left or why he just didn't work on the project after a certain point. I don't know if it's creative differences. I don't know if he just like wasn't gelling with Warner Brothers or cast or whatever.
Sure.
But like he leaves. They still have the script for this first movie, so they're going to use it. And they just get a new director with Andy Muschetti. So first one's a huge hit. The highest grossing horror movie ever made, like about $700 million.
Is it really? I did not know that.
Yeah, highest grossing horror movie ever.
Damn.
And so they're like, well, we're going to put all our money behind it. Like, this is going to be the biggest, like, event of, like, whatever year we're putting it out. Like, we're going to, like, base our whole schedule around this next movie because it was so successful or whatever. You know, they get a huge new cast with, like, big stars. Because you look at this, I mean, yes, you have some rising kid actors, like Finn Wolfhard, obviously, but, like, who even knows if Stranger Things had come out before, when they hired him, or anything like that. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, like, that's not like a, you know, when you certain horror movies, like, you know, Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter or like some shit like that, like you put like a big name guy as your monster, and it's like, just no, Bill Skarsgård.
For me, it's Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky, my absolute favorite.
Good stuff. Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah. But like, so Andy Muschetti is just like, what am I going to do with this? And Gary Doberman is the guy who helped write the first It, probably like after Fukunaga left, to like kind of do probably some more of what Warner Brothers wanted to do with the movie.
Okay.
And probably what Andy Muschetti wanted to do with it. So basically, that's the guy writing the second one, and Andy Muschetti's directing the second one. I think what works about this movie is probably all the Cary Fukunaga stuff. Okay. Like, that's where I think It too just like loses all that, like you were saying, like it feels like this whole new thing. Like it feels like a different person's perspective. Like, and I know you're gonna like this comparison, like the way that Stanley Kubrick adapts The Shining as opposed to like what The Shining is the book is.
Don't tell Stephen King we're talking about The Shining. He ain't gonna be a fan of that.
No, that's the thing. And it's like, I'm sure probably that like Fukunaga had some of the same things. It's like, I don't want to just like remake it. Like that's there.
I want to make a good horror movie based around, you know, this original idea.
Yeah. Like Cary Fukunaga, obviously a very talented director, writer, like directed every episode of the first season of True Detective, which for my money is still one of the best seasons of television ever made.
Okay. That's the one with McConaughey, right?
Yeah, McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Dude, I still need to watch that. There's some heavy hitters in that show.
It's incredible. Like, can't recommend it enough, especially like around this time of year where it's like everything's a little creepier and like shit like that. Like, rules. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
He's about to direct the new James Bond movie whenever that's coming out. Okay. So like, you know, and Andy Muschetti, no disrespect, but like, you know, he directed like one movie before this called Mama, which I bought because I love this movie so much, but I just still haven't watched.
You seen Mama?
Mama?
You haven't seen it?
No.
It's that's a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they just like, we have this banging script, so like we're just gonna bring in like a gun for hire whose last movie we like kind of liked how it looked.
Okay.
Probably. Now once again, that's me talking on my ass about like what's going on in the studio or whatever, but like
that's all we do on here. We might as well call this a few good men talking out of their ass.
No, for sure. That's exactly right. But yeah, I think it's just the reason It 2 doesn't work is just because it doesn't have that original idea that Fukunaga has for it.
Yeah.
Which I think, once again, you watch this movie, it's so centered around the kids. Yeah, it's so centered around this group of people and the dynamic.
It gives me almost like a Stand By Me feel.
Exactly.
It's not completely, but like.
No, I mean, it's a Stephen King story.
Yeah.
Like, exactly, it does that.
Okay.
Like, I completely agree. Like, I think you don't make a movie about kids based around a Stephen King novel unless you look at Stand By Me. Like, I think that you have to have some influence with that. And I think the way these kids talk, what they talk about, how they interact, I would definitely say it has like a Stand By Me vibe.
Yeah,
too.
Wolf's got or Finn, he's got the real quick mouth. He's trying to do bad shit.
Yeah.
You got the real uptight good one. You got Bill, who's just the genuine soul.
Yeah.
Stutter.
You got Ben, who's just like trying to get Beverly to notice him. It's all super sweet and everything. And then you've got Mike, you've got Stanley. Like, it's a very good like children's cast, which is like a hard thing to do. I feel like to get that many kids together, give such good performances.
Yeah, I agree because it's just minor experience. But I watched. I was working as a cam op doing this short film, and the woman who was the director, like we were working with children, and they were a little bit younger, so it took a little bit more guidance. But to get children to stay focused and like get in there and like make a good film and like really just like hone in on the acting, there's a real challenge to that. Absolutely.
100%. And the fact that they're all just like pretty great in the movie. Like, I think Finn Wolfhard as Richie is fantastic.
My favorite.
For sure. I still think my favorite might be Jack Dylan Grazer as Eddie, who's the like cute, who's like super germophobic, like his mom and everything like that. Like, that's my boy right there. He fucking makes me crack up. He is.
Especially the relationship with him and Finn. I love the way they talk shit. Or Richie, the way they talk the whole
I got you. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, dynamic.
And there's that thing where, like, in the second one, I don't know if it truly works, but, like, I mean, you know, the whole point of that relationship in the second one is that they're gay and they love each other. So, like, it's just like, you know, I think that shit works for the most part, but it's also just like, yeah, I don't know.
I always ask myself questions like, was that like a creative decision, or was that a politically correct, not politically correct, but, you know, like I'm doing it to appeal to a certain, not that it's even wrong, but I just always ask myself that, like, I wonder why they made that decision. Are they speaking the truth within themselves as a writer, or are they just like, we'll appeal to these group of people as well?
I feel like it's a creative decision. I think, like...
Probably is.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially, like, obviously you got, like, two very talented actors doing those roles in the second movie, and it's just, like, I don't think you'd have those people, like, agree to do it if they're not, like, seeing that in some creative light and, like, trying to make it work. Because I think when I watched the movie, that stuff worked. It's just the movie is, like, super repetitive and overlong and, like, super, like, look at how great we are and how epic we are. Isn't this amazing? And you're just like, no, this isn't at all what I feel like. Like we were talking about, like, I think the heart of this movie and why it works is the dynamic between the kids in the cast.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what makes it work.
Watching it for sure.
And the best parts of the second movie are when the cast is together. The biggest mistake the second movie makes is halfway through the movie, they're like, we're going to split up for an hour. And we're all going to do our own thing. It's like, what are you talking about?
They thought they were Scooby and the gang.
Yeah, and it's just like...
Split up.
No, the whole thing is like, okay, so we're all each going to have our, like, 15-minute segment where we get scared by Pennywise. And it's like, what are you talking about?
And
like,
didn't we learn this from, like, 20 years ago, whatever?
Yeah, it's just like, it focuses on the set pieces too much, which now I think there's a good balance. I think this movie has a great balance between the set pieces and, like, the character stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that movie is literally like, we're going to take a break for an hour to just, like, shove the huge budget we just got because our last movie made $700 million.
Yeah, we're going
to shove it down your throat.
Got it.
Yeah. And, you know, I think, you know, this movie has, like, a smaller charm to it. Like, I looked it up and everything before. This has a $35 million budget, which I was very surprised to see because this movie looks great. The production value and the production design of it is kind of incredible. Like, I think it's designed super well. Like, I feel like I see every penny on screen. Like, you know, it's one of those appealing things about horror as a genre too, and why I feel like movies of the same kind of, like, ilk where it's all about the reactions, like a comedy, why horror still has this huge edge in the industry and why they're still being made and still being pumped out is because They are so cheap to make. Like, you don't need any stars. You just need an idea. You need like a good trailer to sell it. And
I mean, for sure, yeah. There's so many low budget horror films out there, and some of them are still good. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Like not cult, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like Sharknado. People who watch that. What's
kind of campy, just like B movies.
Yeah, just people who they're like that's like they just like watching those corny movies. I mean, I kind of do sometimes. Have you seen come on. What's the name? I hate when I do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Art the Clown. Have you seen it?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, hold on. This is gonna make me upset. Art the
Okay.
Clown. I know. Come on. What's the movie? Is the movie called Art the Clown? It couldn't be. Terrifier.
What's it?
Have you seen Terrifier?
I have not.
Oh, dude, watch it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
You want to just have yourself a little gore fest and laugh at how just ridiculously I guarantee the budget on that movie is nothing. You see the way it's shot. It's just they rented out the cheapest place. They were like, look, we'll just throw some blood and some gore. We'll cut this girl in half and we'll do some crazy shit. Yeah.
And I feel like it's why I feel like so many good directors come out of horror and out of these kinds of like schools of thought. Like, there's always stories about how like Martin Scorsese and James Cameron and all these guys came out of the Roger Corman school of filmmaking, where it's just like, we're going to give you a shoestring budget, do as much as you can with it.
Yeah.
Like, especially I've been watching the Evil Dead movies again because obviously it's spooky season. You want to watch some horror movies. Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors. Evil Dead's one of my favorite horror franchises. I'm going to watch the Evil Dead.
Dude, the remake is gory. It's
yeah.
super gory.
100%. But like, you go back to that first one, that's like a $35,000 budget.
That's crazy.
And it's insane how much they are able to do with it.
Well, you could with horror, you can play so much on like building tension.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is not necessarily horror, but it is Jaws. I mean,
yeah.
I know everyone knows.
Definitely.
I know everyone knows the classic story of like, the reason Jaws is shot the way it was is because they had so many problems with that shark that all those shots looked so bad. So they just were like, all right, let's just try to hold off and build tension as long as we can so we don't have to show the shark. Yeah. I mean, you don't see the shark for the first hour in the movie. It's crazy. No,
absolutely.
And that also speaks to the brilliance of, Steven Spielberg and that team he had around him. But
no, you're right.
But just going on it, like horror, there's so many things you can play with that allow you to, like an action movie, you got to have a budget. You can't blow up cars and stuff on this shoestring budget. It's just kind of hard.
No, you're right. I mean, I feel like there have some that have been able to do it, but you're right. It is like substantially harder to do it with something like an action movie.
Yeah, the elements work in your favor more with horror because there's a lot of the scariest part of horror movies, at least I find, is letting your imagination do the rest. Like, it's good to see it in the gore and stuff. If you like that, that's good. But for me personally, I find that when you get that, you let your imagination do all the thinking of like, dude, what could possibly be happening? What is?
Yeah.
I always appreciate that.
No, especially like I think getting back to the movie we're talking about today, which is it. One of the things I think is kind of great about Pennywise and what makes him so scary is we never see what happens to the kids really.
Yeah.
Like once Georgie goes under that drain, what's going on with Georgie? What's happening under there? Or like any of the other kills. Like there's that one kid that goes down into the sewer, and Pennywise just like runs at him, and then you never see him again. Like obviously you see the kids floating at the end, but like still, like what the fuck is he doing to them?
Yeah, I do actually like. Now this is kind of the opposite because this is a scene where you actually do see a lot of CGI. But like when he bites Georgie's arm off right there at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
I loved how that just set just a different tone from like the original. You don't get that. You don't get the arm biting off and that crazy bit. That to me immediately drew me in. Like, okay, wow, all right, this one's gonna be a little bit more intense.
Yeah, especially like I feel like horror movies, there are a certain not rules, but like things that you're just like, maybe you don't do that. Like maybe you don't kill a child. And like that was the big thing that like got me when I first watched it. Was like, holy shit, they did it. Oh my God. Like
Yeah,
this,
they didn't just like not show it. They
yeah.
bit his arm off and dragged him.
Yeah, because like I said, I had never seen this like in any other format. Like I'd never read the book. I hadn't seen the older one.
Okay.
Like I was going in fresh. Like I know that it's a scary clown,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. Lucky you.
Right? Like that's what's great about, and that's why I didn't watch the older movie, or at least try to until the second one came out, because I wanted to see, like the best part of the watching this one for me was like all the surprise of what was happening.
Okay.
Like I did not know that like his brother Georgie got just axed at the beginning.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah, like just immediately getting you in.
That's like the one scene that actually, compared to the original, they shot that almost like shot for shot the same. That was the one part where it was a remake. They literally just remade that whole scene.
I mean,
which is okay. It's a classic scene.
Yeah, when something's that good, you got to do it.
I'm so okay with it.
Yeah. And especially the performance that Bill Skarsgård is giving during it, like you're immediatally sold on him.
I'll tell you what else sells me on it too, and it's another classic use. It's like Midsommar with the score being in the movie. That piano that the mom is playing sets a beauty, and they use that score throughout the whole movie. But it's so it's so creepy.
I agree. And I mean, should we talk about all the Skarsgård shit right now? Like I feel like he's so good in this movie.
Yeah,
like good Lord. Like I love hearing all the stories about the cast interacting with him when he's not doing the Pennywise shit in the movie.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite stories from It Chapter 2 is like Bill Hader walked up to Bill Skarsgård, like they were doing their scene or whatever, like when Richie goes off to do his thing in the movie that's like he's got to find his totem or whatever it is. They're doing in It Chapter 2 that's just so sucky. But like, so they were talking a little bit, and I guess Bill Hader was just wondering, like, how do you do like the cross-eyed thing? Like, do they do that like CGI or anything like that? And then Bill Skarsgård just does it. And there's a picture of Bill Hader running the fuck away from Bill Skarsgård as fast as he can after seeing him do that shit, just out of nowhere.
That's crazy. I was just watching, actually right before we got on here, I was watching the original audition for Bill Skarsgård doing it, trying to like find the voice and stuff. It's crazy to see how it kind of developed, because the audition, it sounds like it, but it's not. Like it's not.
Yeah.
You could just see like this good outline of an idea. And he even says in the video, he's like, yeah, until I physically put that costume on that first time, like the full makeup, he said, I didn't know exactly how it was going to sound or how it was going to make me act or how it was going to make me feel. He was like, so that was,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, he comes in hot. The first like fucking, hi there, Georgie, is just like, Jesus Christ, get me out of here.
That scene is creepy, dude.
Yeah, it is.
When he's just sitting there like drooling.
Yeah. Which, do you know the story behind that?
No.
So, it wasn't originally something they planned out. It was just the mouthpiece he's wearing to get the teeth in the mouth to look like they wanted it to look. Bill Skarsgård would just like keep drooling just because of that mouthpiece. So, and Andy Muschetti was just like, we're keeping that in because it looks creepy.
It's super creepy.
Yeah. So, that's just like a fun little thing to know that just like, because the drool is also one of my favorite parts about just like Pennywise. Like there's so many little details about this performance that I love so much. All these little decisions he's making. Like, obviously you're right. Like the voice is so much of it and he nails it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like one of my favorite scenes in the movie of just him is when they're in the house and he's like coming out of the fridge. Like the physicality of what he's doing. Now, obviously, some of it is CG.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if he pulled that off.
No, I'm saying, but I'm just like, even just like after that, like the little like walk he's doing up to Richie or Eddie or whatever, where he's like doing a bunch of shit like that, like he's mocking with the whole like he can't breathe, and he's like, he's like mocking him. Like, I love that kind of shit about like a villain in a horror movie or like wherever. Like it's like a little Jokerish a little bit, but it's also
I was just about to say it's Heath Ledger Joker vibes is what I was thinking.
Or just like, and obviously like the whole Pennywise, like I don't know the whole like technical terminology for what he actually is. I know he's like some kind of alien or whatever, but like whatever it is, like there's just something so mysterious about him and everything like that. Like I love how just all that shit works. Like, it's so much fun.
What that being is supposed to be. I know you've seen The Thing, right?
Of course. Watched it like literally a couple days ago.
Period. It kind of reminds me of that, like that alien that kind of just like shifts, whatever host it's in next, it kind of shifts into. And obviously, it's not a host; it's just one thing. But the way he can like shape shift and turn into different scary things.
Yeah, which, that's kind of one of the things that like, because Pennywise takes on a couple different forms. It takes on the like form of the flute lady in the painting or whatever. It takes on like that kind of leperish dude. The one thing for me is like I feel like those don't work as well.
I was
like,
just gonna say the flute one is definitely that don't work for me
because it's fully CGI. Like at least you feel like with Pennywise, like Bill Skarsgård is there for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The leopard dude, like it's just like a ton of fucking makeup.
Yeah,
like I like how like practical it is, but yeah, the flute lady is just like truly just like, oh, this is just like.
And for me, it just goes deeper to like, out of all the things that this kid could be scared of, the biggest thing he's scared of is a fucking painting in his dad's office. Like, I just feel like there could have been a way stronger choice there.
Yeah, which I get as a kid, you were scared of a lot of like things that don't make sense.
For sure, I get it. I was scared of a poster at one point. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I think. Because obviously, I don't think what he's scared of is the lady in the painting. I think he's scared that he's in his dad's office and like he shouldn't be there. And he's like, it's kind of like there's that painting that's looking at me. It feels like my dad is looking at me and like he's scaring me because like his dad is this big authority figure.
It could be,
this, like this rabbi and like shit like that. Once again, fully out of my ass. Just like maybe that's something. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But like it's also just like. Doesn't look real when everything else in this movie feels so tactile, and when they do use CGI, they use it very sparingly, and it like works really well. Because like that scene we were talking about where he comes out of the fridge, fucking blew my mind when I first saw it in theaters.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, and then like I think once again, I think he himself works well with the kids. Like I think whenever he has a scene with the kids, especially at the end, like. He has this presence with them. He has this like kind of chemistry with them where it works kind of deal. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yeah.
But yeah, you got anything else on Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise?
Man, I don't know. I just love, like you said, all the little decisions he makes. Yeah. And for me, I just want to keep hammering home about that first scene. The little things he does, just sitting there talking about the popcorn and his little laugh. It definitely draws me in to want to see him again. Because that's always a big thing for me when I'm watching a scary movie. Is the villain or whatever, like the scary entity is, it has to be like appealing to me. If it's a lame monster or some lame, like I don't like the look of it or it's just not scary, that really turns me off. And he made it so creepy with Pennywise. I was like, okay. He definitely locks you in from the beginning because it's super intense, that first scene.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also that thing where, like, he does funny shit, too. Like, obviously, he's a clown. They're going to, like, lean into that shit sometimes. Like, the fucking when Mike is getting beat up by the bullies or some shit, and he, like, looks over the river, and Pennywise just, like, has a hand. He's holding it. He's just, like...
waving it. Yeah.
Like, that's some goofy shit that I'm going to laugh at most of the time. Like, that's kind of hysterical. That's that, like, I love when a horror movie will, like, really walk on that line between horror and comedy. And just, like, that's the good shit right there.
Well, one of the Pennywise scenes that's also super scary to me is when he's Georgie in the basement. And it's like, we all go down here, and he comes up, and he's all, like, shaking. And that, to me, is another one of the... Honestly, the part where I find him the least, like, terrifying is when they fight him at the end. That's kind of when he loses it to me. When he's more of a mysterious creature for the beginning, oh, man, that's when I feel like he's really, like, heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Scenes, which I guess, that's because...
That's going to happen.
They're learning about it, so I understand. But
it's also just, like, the whole point of the movie is the kid's got to beat the clown at the end. So, like, and, yeah, when the clown is getting beat up by, like, 6 kids... Like, and you think of this whole movie, like, these kids got no shot. once they just like, we got a baseball bat now, and now we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
He's gonna look a little less intimidating.
We got amped up. Let's get this clown.
Yeah. Which I kind of love because we haven't talked about the Beverly stuff yet, and I think how they position him with like Beverly, how like he turns into her dad and shit like that, like really hammers home. And like the one thing I do like about it too, and I wish it like dealt with more, is how it sets up that the whole point of the movie is that like these kids going to be dealing with the trauma they suffered when they were kids.
Yeah. And
like I love how like some of this movie communicates that. Like obviously like Eddie has the stuff with his mom. Beth has the stuff with her dad. Billy has the stuff with Georgie. Like I think all that stuff is pretty great.
No, for sure.
And it just it sucks that the movie sets up everything so well for a second one to slam dunk it, and then it's just all just slips away.
What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, because I mean you're right, and I think the decision was right to do a part 1 and part 2, especially since the last one did a like bunch of flashbacks to the kids and everything like that. I think it sets you up to like just be in each world more. Like I think, like we were saying, like this movie works because you spend so much time with the kids and you're not like going back and forth between the adults and everything like that. Like I think that's a smart decision. But I think you are right that like once you see the kids beat up Pennywise in the first one, he loses a bit of his edge in the second one.
Certainly.
Because like at that point, they all know how to beat him. It's just like we just don't got to be scared of him anymore, which is going to be easy because he's just like a clown. It's like we're chilling.
Yeah, that's why they should have just changed the narrative completely and just. I know we're harping on the same thing here again, but yeah, it just come on, It Too, figure it out.
It's just. It's just crazy because this movie leaves you on such a high. Like I remember walking out of this the first time and just being like, why have I not been like introducing myself to this world or like reading the book or like all that stuff? Because like it's one of my like favorite Stephen King adaptations. Like at least I thought so like when I first saw it, because 2 takes unfortunately like a little bit out of this one. Like when I think about like, wow, I'd love to watch It 1 and then you watch it again. This time I was just like, wow, this is so great. I can't wait to see what they do within the next one. Oh, no. Oh, shit.
At this point, I just appreciate the first one for what it is and call the second one a wash.
Yeah. No, you're right. Damn shame. Because, like, I think there's good ideas in the second one. It just doesn't fully work.
It's all right. Hey, they can't all be Ocean's 12, all right?
They can't all be Ocean's 12. It ain't that a fact.
You quote me on that. They can't all be Ocean's 12.
They can't all be Ocean's 12.
Let's talk about Bowers. We haven't gotten into Bowers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think about Bowers?
Well, I hate to just jump right into the deep end, but just that scene when he finally gets possessed and he goes out to his mailbox, finds the balloons, and comes back in. You want to talk about like, I don't know. To me, there's 2 different types of creepy. In film. There's the like the horror movie, like make you jump kind of, oh shit. And then there's that it feels too real creepy.
Yeah.
It happens in there's certain moments in movies where it happens. And that moment, and it has to do with the acting as well. I mean, but it's just, there's those moments, and this is one of them, when he opens that blade and it just goes into his dad, it just like, you know, it's just, I get this feeling in my stomach. I'm like,
yeah.
Fucked, man. Like
that's true.
That's just a big moment to me when that happens.
I hear it. You know what's kind of interesting about that scene though? That's another one of my like Pennywise laugh scenes, because when he finally does like shoot the knife in, you just hear Bill Skarsgård give out this "oh no," and I'm just like,
yeah, him on the TV is ridiculous.
It's insane.
Kill him.
Yeah. And then they just do the kill them all. It's just like it's crazy. It's just yeah, I agree. I mean, he's a really good bully too. Once again, I think it comes down to one of those things where like I didn't think this movie was going to do it, but it did it. Like that first scene with Ben, like they really go into some dark shit with what Bowers does to Ben with like carving him up a little bit.
Yeah, that's another one of those parts right there that if that scene would have gone on longer and he wouldn't escape. That's another one of those feelings that like this feels that scary like real feeling like damn dude, like this kid's like being tormented.
Well, you want to know what the scariest part of that scene is, and I think a lot of really good horror movies do this. Halloween does it. There are a couple others like I mean I'm pretty sure does it at some point, but like there are the two old people that drive by, and he's screaming for help, and they just keep going.
And then the red balloons in the back seat.
Yeah, but even that's just like, I think the whole movie has this going through where it's just like, and a lot of horror movies do, like just this like, no authority will help you. Like no parents are going to be out here to help you. Like the whole world is going to be against you the whole time. Like one of my favorite moments in the original Halloween is there's a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis finally knows that something is up. Like we need to get some help. There's this guy, he's trying to kill us. And she's like running around to all the houses in the neighborhood screaming, help, we need some help, call the police, everything like that. The lights are on in a lot of these houses and they go dark the second she starts screaming for help.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, obviously all the parents in this movie don't listen to the kids. The kids can't trust the police. They can't trust parents. They can't trust anybody. Like when Billy is like doing the whole like thing with his dad is like, Georgie could have come out here. Like we should go look over here. He's just like, he's dead. Move on. We're not going to do anything about it. Like, you know, it's kind of a terrifying reality these kids live in.
Yeah, or like even at the beginning when Georgie gets bit, the woman who comes out and sees him staring down into the drain, and then, you know, she just says nothing. And then even when she sees the blood, she just covers up, goes back in. It's like, you know, I would just assume that, you know, all the people that are older there now saw this thing as a kid and they were like, they just know that you got to just like survive it, I guess.
Yeah. But it's also this thing too, where like all the adults in this movie are either passive or like evil and an extension of Pennywise.
No, there's not a good father figure or like older figure type in the movie at all.
No, except maybe like Mike's uncle or whoever is like, listen, you're either going to be one of the sheep or you're going to be the person pulling the trigger. Which one are you going to be? Like, it's not great. I tell you what, I wouldn't like to have had to learn that lesson when I was like 11 or 12 or something like that.
It's a tough job.
But like, makes sense. Like, at least I can kind of track it a little bit. But like, everyone else, you look at like Bev's dad.
Terrible.
Maybe a rapist. Probably.
Yeah,
a rapist.
Weird ancestral rapist with his daughter. Real weird. Yeah, that's the creepiest one. That vibe.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You've got Eddie's mom, who was just like super overprotective, keeping him in the house.
Hypochondriac type.
Yeah. Really like keeping her kid as a prisoner, kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
At a certain point.
She's like basically, I've seen this before too with other parents, like in real life, but like people who like they like put their fears on their kid because you know they're afraid of all stuff, so they push it onto their child because I guess that's what every parent does.
Absolutely. You got like the guy in the pharmacy who's just like just as creepy as Bev's dad.
Yeah,
it's just like yuck, no thanks.
Ant line.
Yeah. Yucky. Not good, very bad, don't do it. So yeah, it's just like, and the only like good you really get in this movie are just like this group of kids. Like even the other kids, like you got Bowers, kind of a piece of shit. You've got like the other girl. Like I think what this movie does so well is that like it sets up the whole town is against these kids.
Yeah.
Like the whole town is out to get these kids.
And no one's gonna believe them or anything.
Yeah, it's like kind of the whole town is Pennywise a little bit. Like the influence of Pennywise is so great.
Yeah.
Like the whole town is like coming for these kids.
Well, even like when they put the wanted signs or like the missing posters over the old ones, they're like, it's like these people just disappear and they're just forgotten. That's another of them like pushing out that agenda of like, no one's helping them. They don't care.
Yeah. It's super passive. Yeah.
They just like accept status quo, and the kids are the only ones like, are we just like sitting here? Like, what is this? There's no way this can be just happening.
Yeah. And like the reaction to Eddie breaking his arm, like she gets mad at the kids and not like ask, how did this happen? What's going on?
She just calls them monsters and blames them.
Yeah. Like it's insane. Really insane. Which I think leads us into talking about the kids. I guess we can go like one by one, but like we've said before, like I love them all. I think they really give great performances. I think the characters are so well drawn. I think the dynamics between everyone is so good. Like, I love Billy and Richie's relationship. I love Richie and Eddie's relationship. I love how Stanley plays a factor. I think Bev, like the girl who plays her, is really great.
Yeah.
I love the triangle between like her, Billy, and Ben is like really nice. I love Ben is just this like, just this like sweet kid, like sweet new kid who's just like trying to get his leg up, but just like can't catch a break.
He's great. Ben,
Yeah.
I love that first introduction to Ben where he's going around back and he's talking to Beverly. I just love my favorite little part of that is right there at the end after Beverly signed his yearbook. First of all, when they do that shot of the book and you just see his eyes and he's just happy as can be. But then also when he's walking away and he's just dragging his headphones and dropping his stuff, he just doesn't care anymore because he's in like this euphoria state because Beverly Marsh just talked to him. I like it. It's so adorable.
Yeah, it like really captures just like that age.
Yeah.
And just like feeling like you're on top of the world, like this group of friends you're going to be friends with the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, this is the girl you're going to marry, or like whatever. Like it captures that like super well, like best summer of your life, like as a kid.
Yeah, just like that one, you're like, dude, I remember that was the first time I had feelings for a girl. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was like that scene at the lake where they just like all jump in from like that high cliff, and there's just like that scene of them just like splashing each other in the pool. Not the pool, the like
right there at that quarry or whatever. I'm gonna be honest, I tear up at that part because it reminds me of my childhood.
It's like, it like nails all that shit.
It does.
And like especially at the end where like, it's sad, but like you all make those promises like, yeah, we're all gonna be best friends forever, and then like everybody fades away and no one like stays. And I mean, Stand By Me has that same thing too.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, guys, we all went through this like adventure that's gonna like define the rest of our lives. We're all gonna be best friends forever, right? And then like 10 years later, it's like, nah, none of us kept in touch. It's all over.
It's that sad reality of life goes on thing, man.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also that thing where it's just like, when you live in a town like that, everyone wants to get the hell out. Like, everyone's just like, we're not staying here.
Yeah,
No
I wouldn't
way.
be sticking around for much.
No.
Side note, because you just mentioned the end, maybe it's just me, and I didn't expect too much because they're kids, but the kiss was a letdown. There was such a build-up. I know it sounds weird because they're kids, so I'm going to let it slide, and I get like that first kiss weird thing, but I just felt the build-up to that kiss coming for so long.
Yeah.
It sounds weird to say I expected more, so I don't want that to go the wrong way.
Yes and no. I think yes and no. I understand what you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
But like also, I understand the other part of what you're saying and why you feel a little hesitant to say that.
Let's
like,
put it this way. I wouldn't be arguing this point with anyone else but you. I wouldn't just be like, guys, let's talk about the kiss, about the kiss.
Well, it's like, here's the thing, and I agree with you. Kisses are great. They're pretty awesome. Especially in movies. You get like a good movie kiss, like nothing is better in the world. Like then like when a kiss is like super satisfying and like you think of like something like Casablanca or Princess Bride or any of the great, like Titanic is obviously a great one for that too. Like when one of those things works, like it's incredible.
Yes.
Like I just watched Back to the Future again recently.
Okay, nice.
Like the kiss in Back to the Future is like one of the best moments of the movie. Like that's literally the climax, and like the victory is them kissing.
Right.
And like it earns all of that.
Or there's some pretty good there's some good kiss scenes in have you seen Pearl Harbor?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that's a little bit more intense, but there's some good scenes in that one.
For sure.
I think that build up to like
there's
just some good intense moments in that one.
I mean, you know me, I'm a big old Spider-Man guy. Like Spider-Man is one of my favorite movies. The kiss in the rain is one of the best moments in all of cinema.
Classic.
Like,
I'm not going to tell you how lame I am, but I am going to tell you because I talk too much. But I have certainly, like, when my girlfriend and me are sitting opposite directions in the bed, I go Spider-Man kiss, and we do it. And so I'm just going to be honest, I do this.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, if I had a girlfriend, I'd probably do the same thing.
I wish I was actually hanging from the roof coming down to make it so much better.
We all wish.
Yeah.
We all wish.
It was on my bucket list.
Oh, it's on every 5-year-old's bucket list. They watch that movie. Dude, our whole generation is just trying to live up to that kiss. It's unfortunate.
Speaking of, did you see they're making another Spider-Verse and they're going to have Tobey Maguire and they're adding everybody?
Dude, if we want to get into this shit, I'll get into this shit right now. We're leaving it behind for like 5 seconds. Dude, I'll tell you what. speaking of Sam Raimi, if they pull off the shit in the way that I'm thinking they're going to, because it's still rumors at this point. Like none of the big, like no Variety or Hollywood Reporter or anyone has like reported on the story. So I'm still like not sure if it's gonna happen.
Okay.
But like, man, they do that shit.
I'm in there.
That's like the most excited I'll be for a movie ever.
Because the
like,
first Spider-Verse was actually really good. I liked that.
Yeah,
it was different.
Great.
I liked the perspective. And so now you do that and you add all like the OGs.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Let's
go.
I mean,
here's the thing. Now, what gets me excited is not just that like Tobey Maguire is like going to come into the fold. Like, down with that. I'm super excited. Everything like that. What gets me excited is the Sam Raimi of it, because the way I see what's happening is that, so about a year or so ago, Sam Raimi says he's going to direct Doctor Strange 2, which is like their big like Multiverse of Madness, which is where I think they're going to be bringing in all the multiverse stuff that would be necessary to do a Spider-Verse movie.
Okay.
And so Sam Raimi is making that movie right now. Like I said, introduction to all the multiverse stuff. Doctor Strange has now joined the cast of the third Spider-Man movie. Right. So I think what they're doing, now I can't say, but I feel like Sam Raimi is going to have a big like hand in that Spider-Man 3 if they make it the way we think they're going to make it.
Let's hope.
So, man, I'm telling you, if there's a scene where Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and like some of the other Spider-Man come out of the woodwork from like Spider-Verse and like a little like Roger Rabbit style, like I'll lose my mind. Like I'm all in.
Let's hope for the best.
Man, I'm telling you, like 7-year-old me would like lose his shit for that movie. Like, honestly, oh boy. I can dream for right now, but like, man, that shit would get me excited.
We can all get excited and just hope for the best.
Oh boy. But yes, we were talking about something along the lines.
This was Kisses. This started from
Kisses. Yes, Kisses.
This is we rabbit hole.
But yeah, our whole generation is haunted by the fact that we can't do that kiss. Yeah, but yeah, it's just like, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. It's like, it's the problem with movie kisses. For the most part, it's like every movie feels like they have to have one, or else like, why do we even make a movie? I respect a movie that makes the decision not to.
I was just going to say, to me, movies that don't, it's so easy to shoot the makeout scene or something. And I appreciate a good one, or like an intense, you know, like sex scene. Like those are, sometimes, very rarely, I mean, like I said, sometimes they can be cool, but very rarely do they add to the story. Yeah. And it could have been something of, again, you see him kiss and fall off, and maybe it just pans away. And it can, I don't know. I guess if it's like a romantic movie, it's romance, sure.
But like it's like a special thing. Like, have you ever seen Cinema Paradiso?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Cinema Paradiso. It's a great movie. If you love movies, you should watch it. But like, the setup for like one of the big climactic, like heartfelt moments of that movie is, so I don't know if you know what it's about, but it's about basically like this kid who like grows up in, I think, some Italian town somewhere, and he like has this love of the movies. Like he'll sneak into the movie theater and everything like that, where they live in this very like town that's like, I think the church owns the movie theater or like funds the movie theater or something like that. Okay. And like the priest will go in every movie and like cut out all the shit that like he doesn't want the public seeing, like a kiss or any sexual innuendo or anything like that, any violence. Okay. And like, so the like projector guy, who's like also one of the main characters of the movie, he has to like cut all this shit from the movies, and he has just like this big barrel of like all the kiss scenes from all these movies. And like the end of the movie, it's just like he watches a reel of all those kisses. Like it's like the last gift that the man gave him like on his deathbed was like a reel. Like, it's a special thing. Like, I think if you do it right, it can have a lot of meaning. But if you're just throwing it in there to throw it in there, then yeah, it's not going to have the like same power it has.
Yeah, and that's like one of my least favorite things is when people just throw it in because they think it adds like a sex appeal or something to the film, and it's like, no, I like it when it has meaning and it really, you know, it's a big moment, like you said. That's what makes it really like powerful.
Like, listen. I'm not gonna say I don't like seeing two very attractive people kiss. Usually for like most of the time, like I'm not gonna complain about it. But like, you think of like how like something like Mad Max Fury Road, which I just watched like pretty recently, feels like does not feel the need to have like a kiss between Max and Furiosa, which would have derailed the whole entire movie.
Is there
Like,
a kiss or no?
No.
Okay, I say because I'm like halfway through it. I didn't finish it. It's pretty intense, dude. Pretty intense.
You gotta watch that movie.
I didn't get to finish it because everyone came home and I was using my buddy's big TV and so it cut it off. But exciting stuff.
Movie
exciting
rules,
stuff.
right?
From what I've seen so far, for
one
me,
of the best, right?
I was just thinking about you talking about like how the fuck did they get away with shooting this? And it was when they're just playing music on top of the truck while they're racing, and I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? Who shot? Why? How did you get away with like?
See, what's crazy is the trajectory of how that movie gets made. Like, all like bibliography and everything, the Blank Check podcast, they like listen to them to like really track George Miller's filmography and how he gets Mad Max Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how he finances that movie, how he gets Warner Brothers to like let him make it.
Oh man, I think we've hit on this before, but I don't remember.
Happy Feet.
That's right. We did talk.
That is the movie that guarantees George Miller his chance to direct Mad Max Fury Road that he's been trying to make for like 20 years.
Hey man, that's all it takes. Just got to make Happy Feet so you can make.
They go out to the desert and they just film all of it. Like it's insane. And apparently there's like so much more footage out there of the shit that they shot. Like it's incredible.
And a lot of those stunts, I mean, like are actually shot. Like it's not CGI. It's like it's from the very beginning. It's cracking. It doesn't slow down at all.
No.
It just goes, dude.
It's an incredible movie. Absolutely. Like, it's one of the best action movies ever made. Like, I literally, like, I watched it, like, 2-3 days ago just because, like, I was kind of in a similar position. Like, no one was home. I knew people were coming later, so I was just going to, like, throw something on for a little bit. I was just like, let's throw on Mad Max. And then we watched the whole thing. Like, it's incredible. But, back to it. Nice little detour. And back to the kissing thing, like, like I respect a movie that has, the integrity to be like, we don't need it. It doesn't add anything. It's not going to work if we do it. Let's just like not do it. Yeah. Like, and so few movies do it that like, it takes a lot to actually not do it. Like I remember like one of the few, like Pacific Rim was such like a fun movie, everything like that. And the fact that like, I was so surprised at the end when they didn't kiss. I was like, wow, that's like actually something cool and special that they decided not to have a kiss in there.
Yeah.
Like, but I agree with you. Like, it's just like, I think the whole thing is like the relationship I'm more interested is Ben and Beverly and not Bill and Beverly.
For sure.
Like, honestly, I think that's one of the few things the second movie gets right. I don't know how it all works out in the book or like in the original movie, but like Ben and Beverly is like, that's the team I'm on 100%.
I mean, yeah, it would have been, like, it seemed pretty obvious that Bill was going to win at the end of the first one, but I would have liked to have seen Ben. It would have been nice to see Ben win and get the kiss. I love how Ben's the last one who sticks around, him and Bill, and that's just
you
that
feel
kid.
So bad for him.
Yeah, that's
like,
that kid moment of, like, both people like the same girl, and they're like, maybe I'll get a chance to be alone, and then one of them just kind of finally accepts.
Yeah, it's like, it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
The kid writes a banger of a poem for this girl.
A banger.
Fucking Bill takes all the credit for it. Unknowingly, but he does take all the credit for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't know he's doing it. Bill's pretty honest, but yeah.
But he also is just like, well, I'm going to let it ride either way. So, like, we're chill.
He's like, shit, man, it works for me.
Yeah, like, you think I wrote you a bomb-ass poem? Okay. Sure.
For me.
Why not? I don't know what you're talking about. Wink, wink. Like, it's just like, it's just like Bill at the end of the day, he's like more into his friends than he is Beverly. Like, it's I'm just not on Team Bill. That's just at the end of the day. You know what? I was a chubby kid, and you know what? It was nice to see. It would have been nice to see a chubby kid take the win for once. For once. That's all I want.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, and that's why in the second movie I was like, fuck yeah, Ben, you get your shit. You get it done. You get in there, sir. Hell yeah, let's go. But, like, I mean, once again, I don't think this movie is about Bill and Beverly or even just like the romanticness of it or anything. I think it's just about like all the kids in general. Just like we were talking about earlier, like it has that feeling of just like what it felt like to hang out with your friends back in the day. And I feel like that's something because I remember walking into this movie. I literally like had a conversation with a friend right before I went to see it. Like I was in the car, how I was so sick of like the Super 8, Stranger Things, just like, we're going to do a bunch of 80s shit. Isn't this cool? We're trying to make an Amblin movie. And it's just like, guys, that worked because it was like built for a time when all this shit was like actually working. And like, you guys are just trying to copy it. Why don't you do something with today's time and like try to make movies with that same tone and like bring it to today? Because I feel like there are a couple movies that do it. I think like Shazam was really great at bringing back that like kind of Goonies, kind of like Gremlins, like kind of like still super scary, but like also can be watched by kids, like kind of tone. And I feel like this movie has that for the most part, except for like maybe it, like they swear a little too much or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the language is pretty foul sometimes, which I always find funny.
But kids like it works because like that's how kids talk. As much as like you think we weren't like talking like that when we were like 13, 14, like that's the move every single time. It's just like
he's talking about like masturbating and stuff, and like he just has no.
What's
that?
Like,
he found out about it like 3 weeks ago. Like he just says shit.
Yeah, well, it's that thing where just like when you're a kid and you're not allowed to do something, and you finally have like not access or permission, but like you finally get a chance to use it, you're gonna go all in.
Yeah, like, that little bit of freedom of going out with your friends. And,
it's just like
parents.
It's the only word I'm going to use from now on. Like that's going to be 30% of my vocabulary.
I used to use the C word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that nice, girls like that word a lot. But when I was like 10, this is because my loving father was teaching me all the nice words. So I used to yell that. And at one point, this older woman stopped me, and she was pretty upset. And she was like, "Do you know what that means?" And I was like, "No, I just thought it was like an insult." And then she broke it down. And I was like, "Damn." I could have paid worse repercussions. I'm honestly glad I didn't.
Oh, for sure. Well, because that's the thing. It's like, this movie has that energy of like these kids should not be saying it, but they're saying it. Yeah. Like that's the fun part of it. And I feel like something like Super 8 like got close, but like not close enough for me. And like Stranger Things does the same thing, where it's just like the reason that those movies worked back in the day was just like because they felt a little dangerous. Like it was kind of like new that like kids were able to talk like that in the movie, or like kids were able to like do some of the stuff or be involved in some of the situations they were able to get into in those movies.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're just like redoing it, like Stranger Things or Super 8 does, it's like it doesn't have that effect. But like when you have a movie like this that like pushes those boundaries, like gives the kids a chance to do things that like haven't been done with kids in a movie before.
Right.
Like, I think that's exciting. Like, as much as there was this craze around Stranger Things, like I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm not on the Stranger Things train and never really was.
I'm going to be honest. I loved the first season.
Okay.
And then after that, it I don't know. Like, I know this sounds bad, but literally once you could tell they increased the budget a lot in the second season. And so like I feel like again
same with this a little bit.
It was just one of those, they used it because they had it. Like some of the things they did, like it didn't necessarily bring to the story. It's just like, all right, great. I know you got this huge budget, so you're making this crazy CGI and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like things were a little more well thought out in the first season. And I don't even know if there's a third season or not. I don't even.
Yeah, there's a third season. I think they're working on their fourth or something like that. I'm sure. I mean, that's Netflix's biggest cash cow. They're not.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not over.
Like, it's the same thing with, like, AMC The Walking Dead. Like, once they realized they could, like, make that for as long as they wanted, they're not going to stop until it stops making money.
That's another one of them. I watched, like, the first 2.5 seasons because I can get into zombies. Yeah. It was pretty good, but once it became, like, people battling people while trying to fight this, I was like, nah, this is the Hunger Games all of a sudden. Like, it didn't. Yeah. And that was even probably before the Hunger Games came out, I think, when The Walking Dead came out.
Yeah. It's just like the real monsters are the people. It's like we've seen it before. Like, we understand.
Like, I just want a just give me a zombie movie or give me a zombie show. Like, have them just fight zombies. We don't have to bring in all these And I get it. I guess you could only see that for so long without it getting boring. But that's why I don't think zombies is a good idea for a TV show. I think it should be a movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know me, I'm more of a movie guy than a TV guy on the whole anyways. So, like, oh, it's whatever. But, like, it's just, like, once something, like, gets this successful, it's just, like, it's hard to recreate that, like, kind of, like, newishness. What the hell is that?
It's what we're doing.
But, like, just that, like, surprise of something like this or, like, a Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's like anything. Like, it goes with music as well. Like, I don't know how well you know Drake, let's say. Mm-hmm. But Drake, you know, he put out a few albums. Nothing Was the Same, Take Care. Mm-hmm. Nobody expected him. Best albums ever. Then there was all this hype on the next one. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, it sucked. And it's like the same thing with like these films. Like, or these TV shows even. Once the newness of it is usually the best part about it. This is why I know I'm a stickler for this. This is why I hate when they make sequels and it's just for it to be a cash grab, because they just completely abandoned this good idea that they had, and they just like, well, let's just try to make it again and make it a little better. This is why Ocean's 12 is fucking incredible, because they didn't do that, and that threw me for such a loop that it was like heaven.
Yeah,
it was such a beautiful thing to see, man. I wish every sequel needs to listen and take notes from fucking Ocean's 12, man.
You still don't know how happy it makes me how much you fucking love Ocean's 12. Like, honestly,
it's one of the, if not the best sequel I've ever seen to a movie.
Oh my god,
it's up there with like Toy Story 2 and shit. Like, it really gets in there. It's an elite.
Hell yeah.
It's an elite second movie, because it's so hard to do.
I love it. I mean, I'm all ride or die for Oceans 11 and 12. Like, I'm in.
You got me hooked for sure. 13's cool, but 11 and 12, every time I can recommend a movie to someone, I'm like, dude, Ocean's 12, go ahead and pop that on real quick. You gotta watch the first one to appreciate how really good the second one is.
No, I agree, because, you know, the whole reason 12 works is because it's so drastically different. Like,
exactly.
Which is what you wish happened with that chapter 2. But I digress. Like, it's just, that's the thing that pains me the most, is that, you know, Cary Fukunaga, how good this movie is, you know, it would have had, like, at least an interesting energy for the second one. And then for that second one to just be so absolutely just like, we're going to do exactly the same. Like, there's going to be the moment where, like, this one kid, he goes off and he's going to have his thing with Pennywise. And there's going to be another kid, he's going to go off, he's going to do his thing with Pennywise. And it's just like over and over and over again. And, like, to have that, like, drilled through your head is just like,
it's really crazy. Hard to watch the second one all the way through.
It is. Well, hard. Especially because it's 3 hours. That's 3 hours long.
And if you don't need 2 of it, no. You can make it. They could have just not made a second one.
Yeah, honestly, like, it's just such a good, like, it captures so much of what's good about Stephen King.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, I think it's such a good, like, distillation of both the, like, tender, hopeful, like, captures a feeling, whether it's, like, Stand By Me or, like, captures that hope that Shawshank has or anything like that, while also having some truly terrifying shit in here.
Yeah.
Like, then you get into, like, The Misery, The Shining, like, all of that. Mm-hmm. Like, it's kind of like the perfect combination of those two sides for him.
Which is a hard balance, a really hard balance.
Yeah. I mean, many people have tried and failed.
Yeah.
Obviously, Stephen King is one of those people who's, like, had so many people adapt his work for movies or television. Like, you know, you have your Dark Towers and you have your Shawshank Redemptions and your Green Miles and all this shit. Like, it's, you know, it goes to show how much of a good writer he is, obviously, but just, like, how many of his ideas are so good. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, I think, like, we both know, and we've talked about it even earlier on this podcast, but, like, the way that, like, Kubrick, like, took all of King's ideas and just, like, I'm going to do my shit with it.
Yeah.
Like, and to see that, like, Fukunaga had all this stuff he was doing with it, and I'm sure he had all this stuff he wanted to do with the second one, and then to see it, like, not come to life, it's, like, super disappointing. So, yeah. That's my 2 cents on all of that.
We appreciate it, over here.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm so hyped for his Bond movie. Like, I'm so sad that I should own a Blu-ray of that movie right now, but I don't.
When is it gonna come out?
It was supposed to come out in like April, but like
Oh,
now.
let me ask you something. We could wrap this up and we'll talk more after we stop recording here, but I
Mhm.
need to know what Tenet was like.
Oh, we want to talk about the Tenet experience?
Like I said,
Well,
I think we should wrap this up and we'll
yeah,
talk about that separately because
sure.
that's going to be more than a few minutes.
For sure. Oh, absolutely. So, I don't know. Is there anything else you have to say about it?
No, I think we've nailed it. I think we've touched on it pretty thoroughly, actually.
I agree. I think it's a very fun horror movie. It's a definitely good movie to watch during the season. I think hard pressed to find a movie like a horror movie that also makes you feel like this good and have this much fun with
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Like all the kids are great. Skarsgård's great. Good movie. Like it a lot. Has a crappy sequel. You can watch it if you want or not. Up to you. But do we want to talk about the Tenet experience?
Like I said, let's wrap this up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that.
I mean, I think we're wrapped up. Or do you want to talk about it off mic, or you want to talk about it on here?
Off mic, yeah, I'm saying off.
Oh,
mic.
off mic. Oh, okay. That's my bad. Well, yeah, I think that's what we got. I think that's what we got for it. Next week, Drag Me to Hell. Very excited to actually talk about a Sam Raimi movie proper.
Well, stop. You remember we changed it. Next week's going to be Borat.
No. Borat's going to be Friday. Next week's going to be Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, okay.
I got you.
Okay.
But yes, we are also going to be doing Borat too because we gotta go to bat for our man Sacha Baron Cohen. Very excited. And then Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi goodness all over the place. Super excited. Gonna have 2 special guest ons for that one. Gonna be a good time. Any closing remarks, Matt?
No, just want to say, go ahead and follow us, on Instagram at Few Good Movies. Follow us on Twitter. It's the same handle.
Mm-hmm.
Follow my guy, Bren Diesel.
Yes, sir.
Follow Mathew Brown 02 on Instagram. You know where to find us, and I don't know. Enjoy it.
That's right. We'll have all those links down in the description. Make sure you like, you follow, make sure you like, you follow, you subscribe. Make sure to comment down below. Let us know what you think of it. What do you think of it 2? Do you think maybe it 2 maybe takes away from this one a little bit? Is just such a good movie that it doesn't even matter at a certain point? Favorite moments, favorite performances, favorite member of the cast, favorite Pennywise moment, all that good stuff. Let us know down in the comments. And once again, I'm Brendan Murphy.
Mathew Brown.
And this has been a few good movies. See you guys next week.
See ya.